This week, the independent review group led by former French Foreign Minister Kathleen Colonna finally released its report. If you remember, in January, Israeli government accused UNRWA staff were involved in Hamas' October 7th attack against Israel. UNRWA then swiftly fired 12 people. Following this incident, about 16 donor countries suspended their funding to UNRWA, including the United States. In February, UN decided to initiate two separate investigations. One is this independent review, another one is an internal investigation on the Israeli accusation, which is still underway. The 54-page report stated that UNRWA has established a significant number of mechanisms and procedures to ensure compliance with the humanitarian principles, with emphasis on the principle of neutrality. But neutrality-related issues persist, and it gave 50 recommendations to further enhance its neutrality. I asked the leader of this group, Madame Colonna, on how big the problem of neutrality is for UNRWA. In your report, you said there's robust framework of neutrality in UNRWA, but there's still neutrality-related issues persists. You just mentioned some curriculums and wrong use of the facilities of UNRWA there. Can you just give us an idea how big of the problem is, you think? Do you think it's a systematic problem? Or how big is this a problem that big enough for donors to stop funding UNRWA or to dismantle UNRWA? How big is the problem? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. The problem is serious enough for the Secretary General to have initiated this review. So it is an existing issue, absolutely. Now, with at the beginning, and including at the beginning of this briefing, stressed the fact that the set of rules, the mechanisms in place, the procedures in place are probably, I said probably, but I'm sure I could say are the most elaborate within the UN system, precisely because it's such a difficult issue to work in such a complex and sensitive environment. Now, what needs to be improved will be improved. And I repeat, I'm confident that implementing these measures will help Iran delivering on its mandate. And I would strongly encourage, again, the international community to be side by side with the agency so it can perform its mission and overcome the challenges when they are there.
Israel said this report is insufficient, but the report confirmed again that Israel has yet to provide supporting evidence of its accusation on UNRWA. Many countries, including China, urges donor countries to resume its funding and stop attacking UNRWA or even the UN.
至此，关于工程处中立性的争论应该告一段落了。我们敦促所有国家尽快恢复对工程处的共资，不要再利用任何借口对加沙民众实施额外的集体惩罚。以色列对工程处提出严重涉恐指控，但至今没有分享任何证据，我们对此表示关切。中方重申，在没有切实证据的基础上，对工程处恶意攻击，甚至对整个联合国系统进行不实指责的做法，不可接受。
Since we have so many recommendations, 50 recommendations, and you said UNRWA cannot implement them all by itself, do you have a time frame of all those recommendations? When are you going to implement? Maybe some of them, it's a phased implementation. Can you explain a little bit?
Yes. Today we will be informing the member states on how we intend to proceed with the 8 set of recommendations. And we will, in the coming weeks, in a staged way, iterated way, be more and more precise about the response plan, about the resource being needed. But we want to kick off the process as from now on. So you will be kept regularly informed.
50 recommendations. It's not easy, really, to implement them all. How would UNRWA do that? I asked Philip Lazzarini, UNRWA's Commissioner General.
You just mentioned UNRWA has never been ever under such attack. Last week you were here, you were in the Security Council, you were sitting side by side with the Israeli ambassador, you were literally facing the accusation. Back at that time, what do you feel when he accused UNRWA of many things?
I keep reminding that the real intent behind the attack of UNRWA is of a political nature, because it has as an objective to strip the Palestinians from the refugee status, to start with in Gaza and East Jerusalem and the West Bank. And basically, this is exactly what we heard at the Council from the Israeli ambassador, that indeed this is a stated objective today. And this is also the reason why I want this discussion needs to take place now among the member states, so that we are all collectively aware of what is really at stake if we let UNRWA be dismantled in Gaza.
UNRWA is somehow more than a refugee agency. It gave the refugee status to Palestinians. If UNRWA is dismantled, the refugee abroad, let's say in Lebanon, Syria, or Jordan, will not be able to return. And this is why Israeli authority always considers UNRWA as a threat to Israel. Now, we're still waiting for UN's OIOS internal report, which directly links to the alleged UNRWA personnel involvement of October 7th attack. Meanwhile, the follow-up of Security Council's veto on admission of Palestine as new member of the UN is also under our radar this week.
Regarding Palestine and the role of the General Assembly, there are two possibilities. We are waiting in the office of the President for the relevant players to advise us as to what the likely timing would be in which the matter will be taken up at the General Assembly. But that is as far as I can go, because to go further would be to speculate.
Well, the two options are, first, veto explanation, and second, resumption of the 10th Emergency Special Session. Now I can confirm that President of General Assembly Office has already received letters from the Arab group and Islamic group to resume the Emergency Special Session. The date of the meeting will be announced soon. Frankly speaking, there's little General Assembly can do concerning the full membership of Palestine. But what the diplomats are exploring is the possibilities to use Article 50 of the UN Charter, which says if preventative or enforcement measures against any state are taken by the Security Council, any other state, whether a member of the United Nations or not, which finds itself confronted with special economic problems arising from the carrying out of those measures, shall have the right to consult the Security Council with regard to a solution of those problems. So they could have a solution of the issue of Palestine. Well, it's yet another legal fight, and we will see how that would make a difference.